At the beginning of the anime, we see the main character named Light Yagami. He is the best student in Japan as well as the son of policeman, Soichiro Yagami. The guy finds a notebook, in the instructions of which he read that the person whose name will be written in this notebook will die. Light initially thought it was some kind of humor, but he still takes the notebook with him. After coming home, Light continued to familiarize himself with the instructions of the notebook. The instructions said that the one who enters the name should at least once be the real face of the person and know the name of the person he enters. If at least one of the conditions is not met, then the person will not die. Also, if the cause of death is indicated next to the name within 40 seconds after writing it, then the person will die as indicated in the notebook, and in other cases the person will die of a heart attack. Light decided to write the name of the killer who was shown on TV for verification. The criminal took people hostage in a kindergarten, and Light began counting down the seconds, after which it turned out that the hostages began to leave the building, and it turned out that the same killer died of a heart attack. The guy thinks it's just a coincidence, so he decides to check the notebook again. In the evening, when he went to the bookstore, he saw bikers who were molesting a girl to have fun. Light suddenly heard the name of one of the bikers and wrote his name in a notebook. He indicated the circumstances under which the biker should die. The girl breaks out and runs away. A biker is chasing her, whose name Light wrote down in a notebook. He is hit by a car and the biker dies. After that, Light made sure that he had a real death notebook at his disposal. The god of death named Ryuk informs his colleagues that he has lost the death notebook in the human world. He goes to the world of people and goes to visit Light. Ryuk says he is the owner of the death note. Light thought that Ryuk could come to punish him, but he replied that this was not the case. Ryuk can only be seen by those people who touched the death note, and now the notebook belongs to Light. Ryuk warns that the death note brings only pain and suffering to the owner. So you need to be careful. Light decided to clear the world of criminals and create a new world consisting of kind, responsible people. In the new world, Light plans to become a god. The guy began to allocate free time to the fact that he destroyed criminals. Ryuk warned that if people touch the death note, they will also start to see him. So Light hid the notebook because of the mass killings. Crime-fighting organizations from all over the world have started discussing the actions of a killer who kills criminals. His short name was Kira. Everyone is at a loss who Kira is and how he kills criminals. No one could have suspected that Kira was an ordinary teenager, namely Light. The organizations decided to turn to a man who was called Detective L. He is a genius specialist in unraveling the most complicated cases. No one knows his face. He will need the help of Interpol and the Japanese police, whose chief is Light's father Yagami Soichiro. A live broadcast was launched on the news where a man introduces himself by the name of Detective L and says that he understands Kira's motives and why he is doing this. Hearing this, Light got angry and said that since Detective L was interfering with his future plan, he would kill him as well. The guy wrote down the detective's name in a notebook. After 40 seconds the man died of a heart attack, but it turned out that it was not real detective. Light had just killed a criminal who was sentenced to death. All this was just to check where Kira is. That is Light. The detective realized that Kira was in Japan since it was only there that the news was shown on TV. After investigating the case, Detective L decided that the killer of criminals, Kira, is a teenage schoolboy who acts from the principle of justice. Light says that his father is a policeman and through his computer Light can access the police archives. He found out that the police assumed that Kira is a teenage schoolboy. At that time, Kira was killing 23 criminals a day, and Detective L realized that Kira wanted to show by this that he could kill at any time. The detective realized that Kira wanted to deflect suspicion from himself and he definitely has access to the police archive. Kira does it all so that the detective starts looking for the killer among the police. Kira finds out through Reach that someone is following him, but so far he has no idea who it is. Ryuk has unusual eyes that make it possible to look at a person and see the person's real name and his remaining lifetime. Kira understood how to find out who was following him. Kira invites a girl on a date. An unknown person is still following him. He gets on the bus and the pursuer gets on the bus after him. A criminal enters the bus. While the offender was with the driver, Kira spoke to the spy and learned his first and last name. He is an FBI agent and his name is Ray. Kira pulls out a piece of paper on the death note from his pocket and wounds it on the floor. The perpetrator picked up the piece of paper and saw Ryuk because he touched the piece of paper that had been torn out of the death note. The offender was frightened and started shooting, after which he got off the bus and was hit to death by a car. It turns out that it was all Kira's plan. He wrote all the events in a notebook in advance and everything went as he wanted. Kira planned to write the name of the agent who was following him. But he decided to do this in a week so that no one would suspect him. Returning home, Ray tells his wife, Naomi, about what happened. Naomi says that there are too many coincidences and thinks that this is the work of Kira. Ray asked not to interfere for her own safety. The following week, Light found Ray and confessed that he was Kira. Kira said that if Ray turned around, he would kill him. To prove his words, Kira killed a stranger near the cafe. Kira handed him an envelope containing several sheets of death note and a phone. Then he sent Ray to the bus where 12 other agents were with him. Kira orders to get the sheets and write the names of all agents on them. As a result, Kira killed all the agents through Ray. After that, Kira killed Ray. Next we are shown Detective L, who is told that 12 agents are dead and the FBI can no longer help him in this investigation. Kira's father said that he would investigate this mystical case. The daughter and wife began to persuade him to refuse it, and Kira, on the contrary, supported his father. Detective L invited the policeman to his hotel and revealed his face and gave his fake name as Ray Tasaki. They also came up with new fake names for the police officers so that Kira could not write the real names in the death note. The detective wants to scare Kira, and for this he wants to launch information in Japan that the whole world is angry with Kira and sent 1,500 agents to search for him. It transmits to everyone belts with a built-in tracking sensor. Kira's mom sends him to give clean clothes to his father. There he meets Naomi, who came to give information about Kira. After Ray's death, she started her own investigation and has some serious hunches about Kira. The guide meets Naomi and the girl tells everything she knows about the murder of her husband. Kira understands that the girl urgently needs to be eliminated. However, he failed to do it the first time as Naomi introduced herself with a fake name. Kira communicates with the girl and offers her help. Kira sees Naomi's driver's license, which says the real name of the girl. He writes her name on a piece of paper and writes the place where the girl is to die. At this time, the team was sorting out the death of Agent Ray, and they noticed an envelope in the agent's hands. Next, Detective L gets a call from an informant who says Naomi is dead. Since he worked with the girl for 2 years, he rules out the possibility of suicide. The detective is sure that Kira killed the girl. They install surveillance cameras in their houses. Returning home, Kira notices that someone was in his room earlier. He realized that he was being followed. He asked Ryuk to find cameras in the house. Ryuk successfully completed the task. Kira kills people while pretending to do her homework. A few days later, the cameras and wiretapping are removed. As this did not give any result, Kira went to take the exam for admission to the police university and suddenly notices a detective who was following him. Kira and the detective got the maximum scores on the tests and they were invited to give a welcoming speech. After that, the detective asked Kira if he was the son of the police commander. When they sat down, he immediately said that he was a detective, but Kira can't kill him because he doesn't know his name. Kira is not going to give up. He decided to become a friend of Detective L and find out his name and then at the right time to kill him. This concludes the first part of the retelling of the anime Death Note. Subscribe to the channel with a bell to be the first to know about new and interesting videos on the channel.